us for a trusted deposit.
Sri Lanka is at a crossroads. Where will the country be heading towards? Sri Lanka is currently facing a political crisis and an economic crisis. Good evening, this is Primetime News on TV1. Some significant events in Sri Lanka's political landscape took place today. We've got the details of these stories and more lined up on Primetime News tonight, but first, here's a look at your top stories.
Ranil Wickremesinghe sworn in as the new Prime Minister. Ranil's appointment as Prime Minister is unacceptable. Religious leaders displeased.
රටේ ජනතාව බලාපොරොත්තු වන වෙනස මේක නොවේ.
අම්බම් පුට්ටෝ ලබුජන් ව්‍යාකරණය කියලා සාහිත්‍ය යෙදුමක් තියෙනවා. ජනතාව ඉල්ලන්නේ එකක්, මේ දෙන්න යන්නේ එකක්.
Sajid presents 4 conditions and expresses willingness to accept the position of Prime Minister.
විපක්ෂයේ ප්‍රධාන දේශපාලන පක්ෂය හැටියට සමගි ජන බලවේගයේ සමගි ජන සන්ධානයේ අපේ මූලිකත්වයෙන් අග්‍රාමාත්‍ය ධූරය ප්‍රමුඛ කරගත් රජයක් පිහිටවන්නට තීන්දුව කරා දවස.
Mahinda, Namal, Johnston, Deshabandhu and 17 others barred from travelling overseas. Consideration of the police request to remove Gotago Gama postponed to the 13th of June.
Starting off with your top story tonight, Sri Lanka is under curfew as of now. The President's media division says that the nationwide curfew that is currently in effect will be lifted at 6 a.m. tomorrow. The island-wide curfew will be reimposed at 2 p.m. on the same day. The curfew will then be in effect until 6 a.m. on Saturday. Now, in a story that made it to headlines in Sri Lanka's political arena, of course, as you would already know, the leader of the United National Party, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, was sworn in as the new Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. He was sworn in before President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the President's residence.
ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ දේශය තුළ නිර්මලජයක් පිටවීමට උමානයෙන් තව ප්‍රකාශ කොට ප්‍රතිඥා තිබෙනවා.
Ranil Wickremesinghe was appointed as the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka for the 6th time in his political career. Wickremesinghe first entered politics from Biagama in 1977 and was the youngest parliamentarian at that time. He was then made Sri Lanka's Deputy Foreign Minister. During his career, Ranil Wickremesinghe has held the office of Minister of Youth, Education and Labour and once served as the Leader of the House. Faculties of Education, the Youth Services Council and investment zones were some of the concepts introduced during his tenure as Prime Minister. Ranil Wickremesinghe entered Parliament this time through a nationalist seat of the United National Party. This is the first time in the history of Sri Lanka where a lawmaker from a party with only 1 seat in Parliament has been appointed as the Prime Minister.
Samaneka Naika has been appointed as the new secretary to the Prime Minister. He received his appointment letter from President Secretary Gamini Senarath at the President's residence today. Samaneka Naika has served as Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe's secretary thrice before. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe visited the Valukarame temple to obtain blessings after receiving his appointment.
ඔබතුමාට බහුතර බලයක් තියෙනවද පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ? ඔව් තියෙනවා. කොහොමද ඒක කියලා කියන්නේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ටෙස්ට් කරාම දැනගන්න එච්චර. ඔබතුමා මේ වෙලාවේ රට තියන්නේ ආර්ථික ලොකු මේ අමාරු තත්ත්වයක ඔබතුමා ගාව ජනතාවගේ විශ්වාසය දිනා ගන්න මොකක් හරි සැලසුමක් තියනවද මේ ආර්ථික තත්ත්වය ගොඩ ගන්න රට?
The economy must be revived. People are finding it hard to live. The coming months are going to be even harder. We must come out of it. I am accepting this situation to do the work needed to overcome this situation. We can't do this alone. We need other countries and the assistance of the IMF. We need to become a country where people can eat 3 meals a day. We need to give value to our rupee. The youth of the country must have a future.
කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලය හිත පත් කිරීමක් කරනවද කරනවද නැහැ හිත කරන්නේ. කවද්ද මේක කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ? හිතලා බලලා කියන්න මොකද? කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලය හිත කරොත් නිවුස් හරියන්නේ නැහැ නේ. කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලය කී දෙනෙක් වගේ නියෝජනය කරලා දැකද? තාම තීරණය කළා නැහැ. අගමැතිතුමා අරගලයට මොකද වෙන්නේ? අරගලය ගෙනියනවා.
The Aragalia will continue. We won't touch the Gotago Gama. It must continue. The police won't do anything. The Aragalia must continue.
අරගලය ගෙනියන්න ඕන.
දැන් අද කතා කරනවා රනිල් ගෝගම කියලා එකක් හදනවා කියලා ඔබතුමා මොකද ඒ ගැන කියන්නේ?
මට රනිල් ගෝගම කියලා හදලා නැහැ මට පුතේ රනිල් ගෝහෝම් ගම කියලා මම ගෙදර ඉස්සරහ තිබුණා.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has extended his best wishes to the newly appointed Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. The president tweeted, quote,
My best wishes to the newly appointed Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, Ranil Wickremesinghe, who stepped up to take on the challenging task of steering our country through a very turbulent time. I look forward to working together with him to make Sri Lanka strong again.
Unquote. Former Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has congratulated Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. Former Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa tweeted, quote,
I wish you all the best as you navigate these troubled times.
Unquote. US Ambassador Julie Chung also extended her wishes to newly appointed Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, adding that she is looking forward to working with him. Quote unquote, his appointment as Prime Minister and the quick formation of an inclusive government are first steps to addressing the crisis and promoting stability. We encourage meaningful progress at the IMF and long-term solutions that meet the needs of all Sri Lankans. Leader of the Ceylon Workers' Congress, Jeevan Thondaman, extending his wishes to newly appointed Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, says his party will fully cooperate with the new Prime Minister. Jeevan Thondaman tweeted, quote,
However, there are many issues that need to be addressed without delay, and I assure the fullest cooperation of the Ceylon Workers' Congress in your efforts to overcome those issues and stabilize our nation.
Unquote. MP Nama Rajapaksa also extended his wishes to Ranil Wickremesinghe. He tweeted, quote,
Wishing Ranil Wickremesinghe the very best as he takes on the task of driving Sri Lanka forward.
Unquote. Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa had written to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa today. He had said he would be willing to accept the post of Prime Minister under 4 conditions.
අද දිනේ අපි ප්‍රකාශයට පත් කරනවා පහත සඳහන්
The Samagi Jana Alliance, led by the Samagi Jana Balavagia, today decided to accept the post of Prime Minister and to form a government under certain conditions. The main condition is that the President should resign within a certain period of time. The 19th Amendment to the Constitution should be reenacted with the support of all political parties in 2 weeks. All parties should work towards abolishing the executive presidency through the 21st Amendment to the Constitution. The people must be given an opportunity of forming a stable government after the constitutional reforms are passed while maintaining the rule of law and restoring normalcy. A parliamentary election must be held. We have a proactive and intelligent team to implement these constitutional reforms, empower them and prevent the economy from deteriorating further. When the President addressed the nation yesterday, we saw that he directly said that the constitution would be amended. On that basis, we wrote to the President informing him that we will be willing to take steps to uplift the country and to implement a massive plan towards this. We are ready to obtain the support of every talented and skilled person to achieve this target. Therefore, we inform the President that we will be willing to start work from tomorrow under these conditions.
මේ කොන්දේසි වලට අනුකූලව අපි සූදානම් හෙට දිනේ සිට වැඩ කටයුතු ආරම්භ කරනවා.
දැන් මේ විශ්වසික මාර්ගයන් මේ අවස්ථාවේදී කමිටුව බාර ගන්න ඉදිරිපත් වී අවස්ථාවක ඇයි ඔබතුමා දෙවනුව මේ ඉදිරිපත් කළේ?
I outlined the grounds on which we wrote the letter. This was done based on the President's address to the nation. The letter was sent on that basis. Other external factors don't affect that.
ලියන ලිපිවල වළංගු භාවය අවලංගු භාවය තීන්දුව තීරණ කරන්නේ ලිපිය බාර ගන්න පුද්ගලයා මිස ලිය යවන්නා නොවේ. ඔබතුමා කොන්දේසි ආරම්භ කරන්නේ ටිකක් ඉගෙනි.
You have received a copy of the letter. You decide whether the conditions are becoming more tough. In the letter, we have clearly mentioned that these are reasonable changes. The country or the people don't have a future if these changes are not made. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa chaired a meeting of the Samagijana Balawegye today. The President had contacted our party leader and invited him to take up the responsibility. We then discussed this matter with religious leaders and made the decision. We conveyed the decision to him. The people are demanding Gota go home. We understand that it would take some time for it to be done according to the constitution. We highlighted that he himself had told the country that the executive presidency would be abolished. Therefore, we asked him to tell us as to how long he would need to step down, when the 19th Amendment would be reenacted and when the 21st Amendment would be put forward. We put forward some reasonable conditions and said that we would form the government. Under certain conditions, we agreed to run the administration of this country until stability is restored and the elections are held. I think those who said that haven't heard what I said properly. I said if Sajith Premadasa and our faction doesn't come up with a solution, then we have a responsibility as well. I think that the message has been conveyed. There must be a reason to sit independently. This is what we mean by political games. We have sent a letter saying that we are ready. They will have to decide who would be accepted by the country. We carried out this struggle due to the issues faced by the country. This isn't a decision that we should have made politically, but we fought this struggle and made this decision, hoping that we can uplift the people out of this. We ultimately decided to send the letter. Everyone in the party agrees with it, but we have heard that Ranil Wickremesinghe is to take oaths. Things didn't happen as we planned. That is the situation.
After a meeting with 53 parliamentarians yesterday, former President Maithripala Sirisena said they would propose 3 names for the post of Prime Minister. This afternoon, he told the media that the names have not been sent to the President. The lawmakers, who are from 11 parties, had proposed the names of Nimal Siripala de Silva, Dallas Alha Peruma and President's Council Vijayadasa Rajapaksa for the post of Prime Minister.
The country is at an extremely uncertain juncture. However, Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Ranil Wickremesinghe seems to have taken certain decisions to show that they have no intention of listening to the true voice of the people of this country. Ranil Wickremesinghe has always been the savior of the Rajapaksa family. Ranil Wickremesinghe always takes over power to protect the Rajapaksas. Rajapaksas are also the saviors of Ranil Wickremesinghe. That is what has been seen during the past 2.5 years. In the end, despite the massive protest by the people in the country against corruption and the current situation of the country, who among the people will believe in this decision that was taken by Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Ranil Wickremesinghe, completely ignoring the voice of the people? There are only 2 people who will believe in this solution. Ranil believes in Gotabaya and Gotabaya believes Ranil. Besides that, no other citizen in the country will believe in these sly solutions.
කිසිදු පුරවැසියෙක් මෙවැනි කුමන්ත්‍රණකාරී සටකපට මාලිගා කුමන්ත්‍රණ පිළිගනින්න කියලා අපි විශ්වාස කරන්නේ නැහැ. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි දන්නවා තෙලින් බැද්දත් කොබෙයියා, කිරින් බැද්දත් කොබෙයියා. තෙලින් බැද්දත් කිරින් බැද්දත් කොබෙයියා බල කොබෙයියා. ඉතින් මේ කිසිදු වෙනසක් අපේ රටේ ජනතාව
None of these solutions are the solutions expected by the people of the country. Therefore, I believe Gotabaya Rajapaksa must understand that these conspiracies are not going to work and that the true solution lies in listening to the voice of the people. Therefore, this conspiracy has already died.
උපතේදීම එහි මලගම සනටුවන් කළ තිබෙන බව තමයි අපිට පෙන්වන්න කරන්න තිබෙන්නේ.
ආණ්ඩුව ඇතුලින්ට ගිහිල්ලා යමක් කරන්න හැකියාවක් නැත්ද මේ සිටුේෂන්.
අපි යෝජනා කරා.
We did not propose to join the government. Our proposal was to completely take over the government. We presented a proposal on how we can overcome these challenges, but we know that a majority in parliament will not agree to such a proposal.
එවැනි යෝජනාවට එකඟ වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
මේ අවස්ථාව ඔබතුමාලට අවිත අවස්ථාව ඔබතුමාල පිළිගත්තේ නැහැ කියලා.
මා ඔබට කිව්වා.
I told you that there are only 3 members of parliament representing our group. Not only the 3 of us, but another group along with us expressed our willingness to take up this responsibility. I saw Gotabaya Rajapaksa having discussions with various groups in the past, but he is not even willing to have such a discussion with us. So we know that they are extremely scared of us taking up this responsibility.
අපි මේ වගකීම දරනවා. ඒක තමයි ඔහුගේ බයම වෙන්නේ.
ප්‍රශ්න තියෙන්නේ දැන් ඉගුරු දීලා මිරිස් ගත්තා වගේ මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ වෙනුවට රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ ඇවිල්ලා මේ ප්‍රශ්න.
Ranil Wickremesinghe replacing Mahinda Rajapaksa does not solve this issue. The people first established a Gota Gogama, then a Maina Gogama, and finally a Horu Gogama. If this decision is implemented, the people will establish a Ranil Gogama. There will be no solution to the people's issues. We put forward a proposal for an interim consensus government to be established and for a convention to be drafted including the demands of the people. According to our proposal, they must implement those demands and then go home. That is not what is happening here. They are trying to cover behind Ranil Wickremesinghe now. When the president was asked to resign, he always said that he was voted into office by the people and because of that he cannot resign. The same president who made this statement is now making Ranil Wickremesinghe, a man who lost the election in the Colombo district, the prime minister of this country. The president will have to explain this decision. Party leaders in parliament have agreed to take up the no confidence motion against the president for debate next Tuesday. The agreement was reached during a party leaders meeting chaired by Speaker Mahinda Abewardhana. At the party leaders meeting, we decided to take up the no faith motion against the president and the government on the 17th. A vote for the post of deputy speaker must also be held. That vote must be taken up by giving it priority on the order paper. We then decided that the no confidence motion against the president and the government should be taken up for a vote. They took note of it. Some independent lawmakers were present. There were no government parliamentarians. They didn't attend. We decided that the motions must be placed in the order paper. The protesters are calling for the president's resignation. To support their calls, we will take up the no confidence motion for a debate and then vote on it. If we adopt the motion to show that we don't have faith in him, he must resign. He is responsible to Parliament under Article 42 of the Constitution. If the Parliament says it does not have faith in him, then he must resign. That is what we are trying to do. We will support the government that is set up. We will provide our support as an interim measure.
එතකොට අපි දැක්කා මාත්‍යංශ ලේකම්වරයා ආරක්ෂා මාත්‍යංශ ලේකම්වරයා ඔබතුමාගේ ප්‍රකාශයක් කළා තිබ්බා එහෙම නීත්‍යානුකූල නැහැ.
Tell him to read Article 49. He spoke to me about his suggestion yesterday. I said I would wish him. There is no government. It is good if someone forms a government, but we won't be part of it. The Samagi Jana Balavegia is facing heavy accusations. The SJB has outlined 4 conditions. Just because someone invites us, we won't eagerly join them and accept positions. Ask the president to resign. The entire country is chanting Gota go home. The president should listen to that and step down. Religious leaders convened a media briefing today.
අම්බම් පුට්ටෝ ලබුජං ව්‍යාකරණය කියලා සාහිත්‍ය යෙදුමක් තියෙනවා. අඹ ගැන ਵਿਚාරණ කල්හි දෙල් යනුවෙන් උත්තර දෙන්නාසේ ජනතාව ඉල්ලන්නේ එකක් මේ දෙන්න යන්නේ එකක්.
What the people asked is different to what was given to them. The entire country knows about Ranil Wickremesinghe. He is not a leader who has won the love of the people. He entered parliament through a national list received by his party. He was defeated at the election. Ranil Wickremesinghe is not being appointed based on what the people want. Due to certain political motives, parliamentarians from other parties are providing their support to a lawmaker whose party has only one seat in parliament. The support is obtained either by threats, coercion or even by offering bribes. This is completely unlawful. They have completely disregarded the peaceful struggle that is being carried out by the people. This may mark a bad turn for the protests that are carried out by the people. The people are not willing to accept this appointment.
මේ වෙලාවේ මේ පත් කිරීම මගින් ජනතා අරගලය තවත් නරක අතටපත් වෙන්න පුළුවනි. කිසිසේත් ජනතාව මෙවන් පත් කිරීමක් පිළිගන්න සූදානම් නැහැ.
This is not the solution that the people in this country want at this moment. The people in this country want a person of reputed integrity, not a person who has been defeated in politics, who has been thrown out of power by the people. We would like to reiterate that it is necessary for us, if this country is to move forward from the present crisis with confidence into the future, we need a complete change of this system. And that can happen not through the leaders of the present parliament parties, but somebody who is not a partisan person, who can win the confidence of all the people, all the citizens of this country. The Mahanayaka Theras have made that request to the President. We want to endorse completely that request and require that this swearing-in ceremony not be moved forward at this moment.
The Fourth Magistrates Court issued a travel ban on former Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, MP Namal Rajapaksa, Senior DIG Deshabandhu Thenakone and 14 others today. They are barred from travelling overseas due to the investigations taking place on Monday's attacks on the Gotagogama and the Mainagogama peaceful protest sites. The order for the travel ban was issued today by the Fourth Magistrate Thilina Gamage, considering a request made by the Additional Solicitor General Aisha Jinasena, who appeared on behalf of the Attorney General. The order was imposed on former Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, Namal Rajapaksa, Pavitra Wanyarachi, Johnston Fernando, Sanjeeva Edriman, Kanchana Jayaratne, Rohit Abe Gunawardana, CB Ratnayaka, Sampath Atakorala, Renuka Pereira, Sanat Nishanta, Mahinda Kahandagama, Nishanta Jayasinghe, Amita Abe Vikrama, Pushpalal Kumar Singha, Dilip Fernando and Senior DIG Deshabandhu Thenakone. The Attorney General had requested for a travel ban on the 17 individuals, citing that they need to be present in Sri Lanka for the investigations on the attacks on Gotagogama and Mainagogama protest sites, as it appears that they conspired and planned those attacks. In addition to this, the magistrate also made an order barring foreign travel for victims and eyewitnesses involved with the incident. The order was made after the Attorney General emphasized on the importance of these individuals being present in the country for further investigations on these attacks. The report compiled by the Criminal Investigations Department on the progress of the investigations carried out into the incident so far was also submitted to the courts today. President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, President's Counsel Salia Piris, who was present at court upon a request made to him by the IGP to observe the proceedings, then requested the investigatory parties to expedite the investigations and to arrest the suspects involved in the incident. President's Counsel Renzi Arsakularatne, who appeared on behalf of the protesters, informed the court that there are certain pictures circulating in social media showing how Senior DIG Deshabandhu Thenakone was having a conversation with MP Sanat Nishanta during the incident. After considering the facts presented to court today, the magistrate then made an order to the Criminal Investigations Department to inform the court on the progress of these investigations by the 25th of this month. Additional Solicitor General Aisha Jinasena, along with Deputy Solicitor Generals Zilan Ratnayaka and Riaz Bari, and State Counsels Udara Karna Tilaka and Sajid Bandara appeared in court today on behalf of the Attorney General.
The Colombo Fourth Magistrates Court today ordered to remand the 3 men arrested for the assault on Senior DIG Deshabandhu Thenakone until Thursday. The case was taken up by Fourth Magistrate Thilana Gamage today. The identification parade, in which 2 suspects were to be produced, was postponed until Tuesday as well. The Kolpiti police informed the Fourth Magistrate that the first suspect is receiving treatment at the Colombo National Hospital. The police informed court that the second witness, Senior Senior DIG Deshabandu Thennakoon and the third witness, an assistant superintendent, are on medical rest. They had received a treatment at the police hospital, but police had not produced any medical report or document to prove that the first witness is still at hospital, while the second and third witnesses have been discharged from hospital. Appearing for the suspects, President's Counsel Maitri Gunaratne argued in court that the police is delaying submissions as a tactic to further remand the suspects. He said there is no need to produce the suspects for an identification parade, as footage of the incident was shared on social media. President's Counsel Maitri Gunaratne requested court to cancel the identification parade and release the suspects on bail. The police has requested court for an order to remove all structures opposite the President's office at Golface Green. Colombo Chief Magistrate Nandan Amarasinghe today postponed the consideration of the request until the 13th of June. The police requested the court for a fresh day to take up the complaint for consideration. The Chief Magistrate had then said he feels that the police has no need to sustain the complaint. Lawyers representing a leading hotel and some restaurants in the area told that their clients had not requested the police to remove the structures at Golface Green. They made these submissions through affidavits. The lawyers accused the police of lying in court and said they hope to take legal action regarding that. Lawyers appearing for the protesters requested court to issue summons on the respondents if the case is to be taken up before the scheduled date.
The protest, dubbed Gota Go Gama, opposite the President's office in Colombo, ran into its 34th day today. They continued their demand for President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to step down from his office. Protesters commented on the recent attacks on Gota Go Gama and Maina Go Gama.
If those who attacked Deshabandu Thennakoon have been punished, where is justice for our fellow brothers who have been hospitalized? They haven't arrested anyone yet. We are demanding for them to be arrested.
I was attacked. It has been 3 days. Why are they doing acts like this? We have no clue on who attacked us. We were attacked. Why are they being silent? Can't you identify who attacked us? All of you were watching silently. Arrest those who attacked us.
This incident could have been prevented, but barricades were not set up to prevent them from entering. Water cannons were not fired at them. Tear gas wasn't fired either. The IGP, Defence Secretary and the Army Commander should not remain silent. You must stand on the side of the people. Arrest those who were involved. We don't need interim orders to prevent them from going overseas. The masterminds behind this must be arrested. When university students were coming to Golface, they blocked all sides. Why couldn't they block the road at the Golface junction when they were at Temple Trees? Couldn't they have blocked the road? This was state-sponsored violence.
Various events were organized at the protest site today.
Amnesty International has called on Sri Lankan authorities to rescind emergency regulations. It has also reacted to the Defence Ministry's directive to open fire at violent mobs.
Amnesty International says Sri Lankan authorities must not use emergency laws to curb the right to peaceful assembly and freedom of expression. It said police had acted as bystanders during the violence that erupted at peaceful protests this week. The global human rights watchdog also criticized the Defence Ministry's directive, allowing armed forces to open fire at anyone causing harm. Yamini Mishara, Amnesty International's South Asia Regional Director, said the shooting orders, quote-unquote, provide a license to kill. She added that lethal force must not be the first resort.
Will the appointment of Ranil Wickremesinghe as the new Prime Minister bring the political stalemate in Sri Lanka to an end, or will it complicate things even more? What is the situation as far as the lives of the people are concerned? We'll bring you the details after this short commercial break.
Yasa isuru, පිරුණු තැනක් නෙමේක. ලොකුම සල්ලි තියෙන තැන. අපේ සල්ලිත් පරිස්සම් නිසා.
ඉහළ ප්‍රතිලාභ සමගින් විශ්වාසනීය තැන්පතුවක්.
LB Yasa Isuru, unparalleled rewards for a trusted deposit.
Welcome back to the news. People continued to stand in queue for essential items after curfew was briefly lifted at 7 a.m. today. Some were seen in queues even after curfew was reimposed at 2 this afternoon. Many of these people were seen in queues at fuel stations. And Newsfirst's Nisal Suryarachi visited a queue of people who were waiting to purchase fuel in Colombo.
Right now I'm at a fuel station in Town Hall and a bouncer has just arrived. As you can see, there is a queue of people here to pump petrol and the queue is more than 1 kilometer long. And these people, some of these people have been here since all afternoon. And it's 4:45 at the moment. These people are here pumping fuel for their vehicles because the queues are that long right now in Colombo as well as the rest of the country. This is the situation in the country. This is the situation in Colombo. And I'm Nisal Suryarachi reporting for Newsfirst.
In Anuradhapura, petrol was sold at only one fuel station today. Many filling stations remained closed, a sign that Sri Lanka is running out of fuel stocks.
මනමාලි දැන් මේනොත් ලෑස්ති වෙලා මනමාලි ඇවිල්ලා බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා මනමාලි ගන්න විදිහක් නැහැ නැකතට දැනට දින 6ක් වෙනවා මේ තෙල් පොලිමේ අනුරාධපුරේ කොහොමත්ම නැහැ දැන් මේ කොටු වෙලා ඉන්නේ අපි කිසිම පෙරයක් ගත නිතියෙන්ද මේ ගොඩාක් දුරට ප්‍රශ්න වලට මුහුණ දෙන්න වුණා මේ කියන අහිංසක මිනිස්සු තමයි ගොඩක්ම දුක් විඳින්නේ ආයි ගල්වියට යන්න වෙන්නේ ඒකයි සීන් එක
People were in long queues hoping they could purchase fuel at filling stations that were closed in Hambantota. The fuel shortage has even affected the fisheries sector. Fishermen in Hambantota didn't go out to sea as they didn't have fuel for their boats. A fuel bowser reached Baddegama in Gaul today. There was a long queue at the filling station. Filling stations at the Horana town had run out of fuel. However, long queues were seen throughout the day. A long queue was seen at a filling station that sold only petrol at the Naula town in Matale. Long queues for fuel were seen in Nuwareli as well. One filling station sold only petrol and kerosene today, while another remained closed.
India's Department of Fertilizers says it will ship 65,000 metric tons of urea required for the Yala season in Sri Lanka. The message had been conveyed during a meeting between Sri Lanka's High Commissioner to India, Milinda Moragoda, and Indian Fertilizer Secretary Urajesh Kumar Chaturvedi. India would be exporting the fertilizer to Sri Lanka by violating its own ban on urea exports. The Indian Department of Fertilizers has also agreed to provide fertilizer under the $1 billion credit line and even beyond that.
Many people were seen purchasing goods after curfew was lifted this morning. A long queue was seen at a Satosa store at the Mathura town today. Large crowds were seen at a supermarket in Palavatta, Bathuramulla today. Public transport services did not function properly in many provinces. Large crowds of passengers were seen at the Peta main bus stand. Sri Lanka Transport Board Chairman Kingsley Ranawaka said the operation of bus services were delayed because employees could not report to work on time. The General Manager of Sri Lanka Railways, Dhammika Jayasundara, said there were train delays as railway workers faced difficulties in coming to work. The Manning market in Peta remained open today, but there were insufficient stocks of fruits and vegetables. There are crowds, but there are no goods in the market. People had not brought their harvest due to the curfew. Only 24% of supply was available. Carrot is sold at 500 rupees. Leeks is 500 rupees. Cabbage is 300 rupees. How can we sell vegetables at these prices to the people? Our correspondents reported that there was a poor turnout of teachers and students at schools across the country.
Goods that were stolen from a hotel in Negombo on the 9th have been dumped in many areas. Our correspondent reported that some of these goods have been moved to the Katana police. Footage of the incident, which was circulated on social media, drew heavy objection.
All the looted goods have been dumped here. The goods that they stole when they set fire to the hotel have been dumped on the road. This is a massive crime.
The final rites of parliamentarian Amarakirti Attakorala, who was killed in the unrest in Nittambo this week, was held at the Pulannaru Public Cemetery today. Amarakirti Attakorala was first elected to Parliament at the 2020 parliamentary election. He was 58 years old and a father of 2. The final rites of a 27-year-old who died in a shooting in Nittambo were carried out yesterday. Harshanadi Shanjavira was a resident of Hapitigama in Kallelia. The final rites of Sugat Janaka, who died in a shooting in Madamulana, were held today. He was shot by a mob that set fire to the residence of the Veerakatiya Pradeshya Sabha chairman. The deceased was an art teacher at the Kanumuldeniya National School in Balasmulla. The final rites of the 30-year-old Pradeep Kumara, who was killed in a shooting near a hotel in Negombo, was held today. This was at the Atiyana Public Cemetery in Minuangoda. Our correspondent reported that Pradeep Kumara had been attached to the Navy and was attacked when returning from work.
The artists of the People's Movement at the protest site in Galface has demanded that those responsible for the violence on the 9th of this month be brought before the law.
Artists of the People's Movement has demanded the immediate arrest of Mahinda Rajapaksa, Johnston Fernando and other members of the government who organized and instigated the attack on Gota Gogama on Monday. They highlighted that all those who contributed to this violence, either through action or inaction, should be charged and prosecuted under the full extent of the law. They have also urged the people to consolidate efforts and return focus to the peaceful protests.
A People's Tribunal in the Netherlands is hearing a case on the killing of Sri Lankan journalist Lasantha Wickrematunge. The Sri Lankan government has been notified of the indictment by the prosecution.
3 media rights groups have set up a People's Tribunal in the Netherlands over the killing of 3 journalists. The hearing on the case relating to the killing of Sri Lankan journalist Lasantha Wickrematunge in 2009 began today. International human rights lawyer Almudena Bernabeu is leading the prosecution team.
We're going to expose that post-conflict was going to be defined by the construction of an autocratic regime of the Rajapaksas as we have been to known. And tomorrow we will focus, and it's already been said as well, trying to narrow down in understanding as an emblematic killing, the killing of journalist Lasantha Wickrematunge, who comes to symbolize the killings of many.
The prosecution has accused the government of violating the right to life, the freedom of expression, freedom from discrimination based on political opinion, and the right to an effective remedy. The government has been invited to exercise its right of defense during the hearing. Witnesses provided their testimonies today.
In January 2008, they torched the offices of one of the leading dissenting broadcasting corporations, and then we also had the murder of Lasantha Wickrematunge. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, as the defense secretary, had the full power and authority of his brother. He could do whatever he liked and whatever he wished, both in terms of the conduct of the war and in terms of the suppression of dissent against the war and the other human rights atrocities of the Rajapaksa regime.
Lasantha Wickrematunge was serving as the editor of the Sunday Leader newspaper at the time of his death. He was killed on his way to work on the 8th of January 2009. The panel of judges will deliver its preliminary judgment on June 20th.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for tonight. To follow details of these stories and more, you can log on to our award-winning website, www.newsfirst.lk. I'm Charlton Benedict for the Newsfirst team. Take care. God bless.